treat teachers with grace.
TSC jipange venye itapambana na sisi. That is the truth of the matter.
I can tell you for sure, there are many talents that are hidden in those staff rooms. Teachers can do great things. Teachers can be very good MCs. But unapatanga, ni mwalimu, unaongea sana. Unasema nini?
Social media nayo nao tutoki.
It began as a joke. A Kenyan teacher looked at the public attention surrounding one of the country's most prominent families and decided to do something many people do online every day. She shot her shot. But this time, the person on the other side of the joke was George Ruto, the son of the President William Ruto. What followed was a remarkable chain of social media posts, jokes about marriage, and AI-generated wedding photograph, a request for a Teacher Service Commission registration number, and eventually a warning from the TSC or the Teacher Service Commission itself.
Yani Teacher Service Commission watajipanga tu wenye watapambana na sisi because we are not living their moment. Generation has changed. And
suddenly, a light-hearted internet romance had become a national conversation about teachers' professionalism, freedom of expression, cyberbullying, and the limits of personal life on social media. But there is a crucial question at the center of this story. Did TSC actually issue its warning because of teachers Cillah and George Ruto?
Whether I'm the one who was being addressed or any other teacher, but the thing is, if you see a teacher with a certain strength, whether anaongea sana, kama anaongea sana, kindly encourage them to join the teachers unions na huko those politics. They can thrive very well. Ukiona maybe mwalimu ana dance sana, take that teacher, let them mold other children in dancing.
Teacher Cillah is publicly identified as Priscilla Wanjiku Karanja, a Kenyan teacher and digital content creator. According to reports, she trained at Kilimambogo Teachers Training College, completed her P1 Teacher Education Certificate in 2019, began teaching professionally in 2020, and later joined the Teacher Service Commission in Nairobi. But teaching is one part of her public identity. Cillah has also built an online following through energetic, humorous, and educational content.
PADS rule for kids and farmers stroke adults. Okay? Stroke adults. Now, poof. It stands for private parts are private. Teach your child that their private parts are private. Let them know. Show them this is your private, but no one should touch it. No one should touch not show them. Then always remember your body is yours and only yours. You are created as you. Tell your child you are created as you. It is yours and no one should touch it. We've said no one should touch.
Even before the George Ruto controversy, she had attracted attention online. In 2024, for example, videos of her energetic interactions and dancing with pupils went viral, with many social media users praising her enthusiasm.
One finger, turn into walk, crawl. 2 fingers, turn into bunny, hop.
That background matters because when Cillah posted about George Ruto, she was not simply an anonymous social media user. She was a public-facing teacher and a content creator, and that professional identity would become central to everything that followed. The story unfolded against the backdrop of a major event involving Ruto family. On 8th August 2026, President William Ruto's daughter, Charlene Ruto, was involved in a traditional engagement ceremony known as Koito with Tanzanian entrepreneur Isaiah Yunge in Kilgoris. The event generated enormous public attention, and as the story later developed, teacher Cillah used that moment as the setting for a joke of her own. Her target, George Ruto. Her message was essentially simple. She wanted to marry him, and she joked that marrying into the Ruto's family might help her kutoka block to escape hardship and improve her life. At first, it looked like nothing more than social media comedy. Then George Ruto responded. Around 10 and 11 August, Cillah post began attracting wider attention, and then came a response from George Ruto. He asked, "Hebu TSC number ni confirm kitu." In simple terms, Give me your TSC number so I confirm something. It was a joke, but it was also an interesting joke because George was responding directly to Cillah's identity as a teacher. The exchange had now become two-way. What had started as Cillah's publicly expressing interest in George had turned into a conversation between the two, and the internet immediately noticed. Cillah did not retreat. Instead, she leaned further into the joke. She began referring to herself as Mrs. GK, Mrs. George K. Ruto. She imagined the future, a wedding, a family, even a school that two could supposedly establish together. And then came perhaps the most visual moment of the entire saga, an AI-generated image portraying Cillah and George as a husband and wife. For some people it was funny, for others it crossed a line, and that was where the conversation began to change, because people were no longer asking only, is it funny? They were asking, is it appropriate for a serving teacher? Then on 3rd August, George appeared to reverse the joke. According to reports, he posted an Instagram story essentially asking who teacher Cillah was. He explained that he had been away in Kilgoris where network connectivity had apparently been poor. Cillah, however, did not treat the post as a serious rejection. She turned it into another joke. She responded with the line, Kilgoris hukuwa na network? I understand. In other words, there were no network in Kilgoris. I understand. Then came another detail, a knife emoji. Cillah interpreted it as a reference to the knife that would supposedly be used to cut their imaginary wedding cake. She even joked about finding a similar knife and appealed to vendor for help. The story had now become a full social media comedy series, but on that same day, something much more serious happened. On 13th August 2026, the Teacher Service Commission issued a circular number 14/2027. Its subject was Prohibition of Unprofessional Conduct on Social Media Platforms and Cyberbullying. The circular was addressed to TSC regional directors, county directors, and all teachers. It warned against conduct including cyberbullying, harassment, intimidation, offensive content, and other forms of online misconduct. The message was clear: the teacher's professional responsibility do not necessarily end when the school day ends. They can extend into the digital world. And that immediately created a connection in the public imagination, because at almost exactly the same moment, a serving teacher was at the center of one of the most widely discussed social media stories. This is where we need to separate what is known from what is assumed. The TSC circular does not mention teacher Cillah, it does not mention George Ruto, it does not mention President William Ruto, and it does not identify any particular teacher as the target. It is a general directive. So the statement TSC officially warned teacher Cillah goes further than the document itself allows us to say, but there is another side of the story. The timing was striking. The circular appeared during the height of the Cillah and George controversy. Kenyan media immediately connected the two events, and Cillah herself publicly responded to the warning. So was the controversy connected to the circular.
I'm not shocked whether I'm the one who was being addressed or any other teacher, but the thing is, if you see a teacher with a certain strength, whether anaongea sana, kama anaongea sana, kindly encourage them to join the teachers unions na huko, those politics, they can thrive very well. Ukiona maybe mwalimu ana dance sana, take that teacher, let them mold other children in dancing. Si kumwambia hapana hatupendi hivyo nini in class. When you see a child mwenye ana misbehave, maybe anaongea sana, most of the time you encourage this child to join either journalism, unam-encourage join nini vitu kama drama, you see, like such things. You can't just punish a child mwambie toka uende, but when it comes to a teacher, umefanya makosa, unakosea nani, go away, you know, like such things. Let us treat teachers with grace. Okay, let's treat them with grace, cause I can tell you for sure there are many talents that are hidden in those staff rooms. Teachers can do great things. Teachers can be very good MCs, but unapatanga ni mwalimu unaongea sana, unasema nini, you know. For teachers, let them
The TSC circular does not deal only with the romantic jokes. It invokes a much broader legal and professional framework. It references Article 33 of the Constitution, which protects freedom of expression. It also refers to privacy under Article 31, children's right under Article 53, Chapter 6 of the Constitution, the Leadership and Integrity Act, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, the Data Protection Act, and the TSC Code of Conduct and Ethics for Teachers. The circular also specifically refers to the clauses 10, 12, and 24 of the Teachers Code of Conduct and Ethics, and this is where the story becomes much bigger than Teacher Cillah, because the TSC message is essentially this: teachers have rights, but they also have professional responsibilities. One of the most important provisions is Clause 12, dealing with professionalism. The framework expects a teacher's private and public conduct to uphold the dignity and integrity of teachers' service. This means the argument, "This is my personal account," does not necessarily end the discussion. A teacher can have a personal life, a teacher can have opinions, a teacher can create content, a teacher can be funny, but when that person is publicly identified as a teacher, professional standards can still be relevant. That does not mean every joke becomes a disciplinary offense. It means context matters, and in the Cillah's case, that context includes the fact that the content was public, repeated, professional, and increasingly associated with her identity as a TSC teacher. The controversy also demonstrated another danger of viral fame. On 14th August, Cillah shared an abusive Instagram direct message she had received. The sender attacked her appearance, clothing, smile, finances, and use of AI-generated images invoking George Ruto. It even questioned whether she was good enough to join Ruto's family. Cillah responded without humor. She joked about needing more expensive toothpaste and better clothes. But this episode is important for another reason, because it demonstrates how quickly a harmless joke can mutate once thousands or even millions of people enter the conversation. A joke can become criticism. Criticism can become harassment, and harassment can become abuse. But we must keep the facts separate. The TSC circular concerned the conduct of teachers. The abusive message was apparently sent to Cillah by another social media. There is no evidence that this message proves Cillah herself engaged in cyberbullying. Then came another remarkable development. On 15th August, only hours after teachers' service warning became public, Cillah posted yet another video aimed at George Ruto. The caption read, "Wazazi wako ready. Your parents are ready." Once again, the internet divided. Some people laughed. Others argued that the TSC warning should have been enough for her to stop. Some questioned whether teachers should be expected to surrender their personalities and private lives simply because they work for TSC. Others believed that the professional responsibility should take priority, and this created a new perception that Cillah was openly defying TSC. But even that description needs caution. There was no public announced TSC order specifically instructing Cillah stop posting about George Ruto. The circular was general. It applied to teachers as a whole. So whether Cillah was actually defying a specific directive remains unproven. Cillah eventually responded directly to the TSC controversy. According to the reporting, she said she was shocked by the warning, whether it was directed at her or another teacher. She argued that the teachers should be treated with grace, and she made another broader point. Teachers are not only teachers, they can dance, they can host events, they can create content, they can have talents and personalities outside the classroom. Her argument was essentially about identity. Can a teacher be a professional and still be a human being with humor, creativity, and a private life? That question sits at the heart of this controversy. So after separating documented evidence from speculation, what can we confidently say? Teacher Cillah is a Kenyan teacher and social media content creator. She publicly posted humorous romantic content involving George Ruto. George responded publicly and asked for her TSC number. Cillah expanded the joke into imagined marriage, Mrs. GK references, and an AI-generated wedding image. George later joked publicly about not knowing who she was. Cillah continued the joke. She subsequently received abusive online messages. And on 13th August 2026, TSC issued circular number 14, 2026, warning all teachers about unprofessional conduct on social media and cyber bullying. Cillah then publicly responded to that warning, and on 15th August, she continued posting George-related content. Those are the major documented elements of this story. But there are equally important things we don't know. We don't know whether Cillah was the specific incident that prompted TSC to issue the August circular. We don't know whether George Ruto ever complained to TSC. We don't know whether President William Ruto had any involvement. We don't know whether TSC intends to take disciplinary action against Cillah. As of 16 August 2026, no credible evidence identified in the research established that she had been suspended, interdicted, deregistered, or formally charged over the controversy. That means the story is still developing. Perhaps the most interesting part of this story is not George Ruto. It is the wedding joke, and it's not even the TSC circular itself. It is the collision between two words, the private individual and the public professional. For generations, a teacher's professional identity was largely confined to the classroom, the staff room, and the community. Today, a teacher can reach thousands of people from a smartphone. A joke can go viral in a minute. Private opinion can become a national conversation, and an online personality can become inseparable from a professional identity. That changes the rules of the game. The question is no longer simply what happens inside the classroom. It is also what happens when the teacher becomes a public figure online. This is Freedom Amos Report. Subscribe for more videos. Adios.